The next morning, the memory of the previous evening lingered like a half-remembered dream. The sunlight filtered softly through the curtains, but the warmth didn't reach the restlessness inside me. Every glance, every subtle touch replayed in my mind with the precision of a movie clip I couldn't pause. I found myself wondering, was it real? Or had I imagined the electricity of those moments? I tried to convince myself it was just coincidence, that Sarah and Tom were simply engaging, charismatic people who drew me into their world. But even as I made these rationalizations, my heart betrayed me. I remembered the way Sarah's fingers brushed mine, the deliberate ease of Tom's gaze, the way the room seemed to shrink around us, isolating us from everything else. It was ordinary and yet entirely unnatural in its intensity. By mid-afternoon, I found myself wandering near the park where I often went to clear my thoughts. The crisp winter air did little to calm my racing mind. And then my phone buzzed. A message. Meet me tonight, 8 p.m. Same place. No signature, no explanation, just the time and place. My stomach tightened. The logical part of me urged caution. What if it was a trap? A misunderstanding? But another part, the part still tingling from last night, refused to resist. I typed back a single word. Okay. The hours passed slowly, each tick of the clock amplifying the anticipation. By evening, I was already at the location, an old, abandoned loft Sarah had mentioned in passing. It smelled faintly of dust and rain, the windows streaked with condensation. Shadows stretched across the cracked wooden floor, elongating and twisting as the fading sunlight disappeared behind the horizon. I wasn't alone for long. Sarah appeared first, emerging from the darkness with that same quiet confidence that had unnerved me the night before. Her eyes held something more tonight, something deeper, a mixture of challenge and invitation. She didn't speak immediately. Instead, she held my gaze, letting the silence build between us. You came, she said finally, her voice breaking the quiet with a soft authority. I said I would, I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. Tom appeared moments later, his silhouette cutting through the dim light. He didn't greet me verbally, he didn't need to. His presence alone carried the same intensity as Sarah's, a quiet force that seemed to weigh against every corner of the room. And then it hit me. The three of us, alone in a space removed from the ordinary and a night designed for the extraordinary. We need to talk, Sarah said, stepping closer, the warmth of her body brushing mine. About last night. About everything. Everything? Yes. About what was left unsaid, about the tension, the connection, the choices you've been avoiding. Her words were deliberate, precise, yet soft, impossible to ignore. Tom's voice joined hers, calm but firm. We're here to test boundaries, not just yours, but ours as well, if you're willing. A chill ran down my spine, equal parts fear and excitement. I had felt the shift last night, but I hadn't understood the depth of it. The truth was, I wanted this, wanted to explore whatever strange magnetic force had drawn us together. Sarah took my hand, her fingers entwining with mine, a small but deliberate gesture. Tom leaned against the wall, watching. The room seemed to shrink around us, the shadows deeper, more intimate. Close your eyes, Sarah whispered. My heartbeat spiked. Obediently, I did, and immediately the world became a canvas of sensation. I felt the brush of Sarah's hand against my cheek, the warmth of Tom's presence behind me, the subtle vibrations of our shared breaths. Words became unnecessary, every sense heightened, every touch charged with meaning. A sudden movement behind me made me flinch. Tom's hand rested lightly on my shoulder, reassuring, guiding. Sarah's lips brushed my ear, and a shiver traveled down my spine. I realized then that this night was not about words, but about the subtle choreography of connection, of trust, of fear transformed into desire. Now, Sarah said, her voice a whisper, yet commanding. Let go of your hesitation. Just be here, with us. I did. Time lost meaning. Minutes stretched into hours as we explored boundaries, physical and emotional. Every glance, every touch, every measured pause was deliberate, a test of awareness and intention. And through it all, I learned something terrifying and liberating, that connection could be both gentle and consuming, both delicate and overwhelming. At some point, I became aware of my own breath, shallow and fast, heart hammering against ribs that felt suddenly too small for the surge of adrenaline and intimacy. I realized I had never felt this alive, this present in all my years of routine, of ordinary life. And yet, along with exultation came a shadow, a small, quiet doubt that whispered, this intensity was dangerous, too much, too fast. I opened my eyes briefly and caught Tom's gaze. He nodded slightly, a silent acknowledgement of the tension, of the mutual understanding. Then Sarah's eyes met mine, and in that moment I understood the depth of the triangle we had formed. Not a conventional relationship, but something raw, real, and undeniably powerful. And then the unexpected happened. A noise at the loft entrance, a creak of the old wooden door, too deliberate to be random. Shadows shifted, heartbeats synchronized. Fear mingled with curiosity. It's probably nothing, Sarah said, trying to mask the tension in her voice. But Tom was already moving, stepping toward the sound with caution. I followed, adrenaline surging. And there, at the doorway, was a figure I had never expected to see. Someone from my past. Someone I thought was gone. A presence that threatened to unravel the fragile world we had built in these few hours. My breath caught. Recognition, disbelief, and fear collided inside me. The past had returned uninvited, and with it a series of questions I had no answers for. Questions that demanded action, decisions that could destroy or redefine everything we had created tonight. Sarah and Tom sensed the change immediately. They flanked me, instinctively, alert. The loft that had felt intimate, safe, and charged now carried an edge of danger, of uncertainty. The night's delicate balance teetered on the brink, and I realized that what we had explored, our desires, our connection, our trust, would be tested in ways none of us could have anticipated. The figure stepped forward, and the dim light revealed their face. Recognition struck like lightning. I didn't expect you, they said, voice tight with tension. I stammered. Words failed me. Everything from the night, the laughter, the connection, the silent agreements felt fragile, ready to shatter. Sarah placed a hand lightly on my chest, grounding me. We handle this, she said softly, together. And for the first time, I understood. Last night had only been the beginning. Tonight, the consequences of connection, desire, and choices would collide with reality.